guys, it's Shay. Welcome back to my channel, Shades of Injustice, where we talk all things social justice, including but not limited to relationships, domestic violence, sexual assault, BLM, racism, and so much more. Today, we're going to talk about the Me Too movement and why is this so prominent and why is it so important, especially during April and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. In 2006, Tarana Burke founded the Me Too movement. And it's a place for survivors to be able to come and be able to share their stories in gay community, and especially for women of color in low-income neighborhoods or low-income communities to be able to get that support that they need that they don't get elsewhere. Its big focus is pathways to healing. Healing is very important, especially after traumas such as this, as sexual assault. And if you don't properly heal, the traumas can, which they already may invoke like depression or anxiety, PTSD symptoms. And if they don't get treated, it can amount to something bigger. Which a lot of times these mental health disorders that happen after trauma are situational and they end up going away over time after you receive help and you go to counseling. Another important part of the Me Too movement is dialogue. Bringing dialogue around sexual assault awareness. It's unfortunate that there is not much dialogue, there's not much conversation around sexual assault prevention, what it is, the signs, and everything like that. And this Me Too movement is creating that dialogue, creating that space for survivors and activists and advocates alike can vouch and can talk about these pressing things in a safe manner. One thing that we have seen countless times is it doesn't matter the evidence or anything like that against the perpetrators, they typically get away, especially if you are in power. As one of my previous videos shows, all these men in power, they did not reap the repercussions of sexually assaulting these women because they have names, because they're in Hollywood. It's like they just get a slap on the wrist. How can we support women during this trying time? How can we say go to therapy, get support? How can we say tell your story when there's no justice? The women are bashed, as we talked about in a previous video, victim blaming. How can we say go get support and go do this and tell your story when there's not a safe environment for them to do so? This is why the Me Too movement is so profound and so big and so important. Another thing about the Me Too movement is letting women know that they are not alone. A lot of times when you are a survivor of a crime like this or a trauma like this, even though you hear it all the time, you feel like you are alone. You feel like your story, no one has ever experienced what you have experienced. You don't know how to explain your story to others because you're afraid or you're worried that people are gonna look at you and be like, how did that happen to you? And this didn't happen to that person, or so on and so forth. So knowing that you are not alone in this journey is very important. And if you are a survivor of sexual assault, I just want you to know it's not your fault. You didn't do anything to deserve this. You didn't ask for it. No matter what anybody tells you, it's not warranted. Nobody should ever have to worry about getting sexually assaulted. You may ask why this is so important to me. Not only is it because I'm a social worker and I've been working with domestic violence survivors for about 5-6 years, but I'm also a survivor of sexual assault. So understanding what women go through, the plight that they go through, the denial that they go through, the hurt, the anger, the anguish, not knowing how to properly process what has happened. Also feeling that because I'm in a relationship, because this is my boyfriend, there's no way that he could have sexually assaulted me. There's no way that this guy who claims that he cares about me could have taken advantage of me. This is really hard to talk about sometimes. It's always that fear and concern of how people are going to look at you after they hear your story. Even for me, how can I be a social worker and deal with this? And I went through this, and then sometimes that's hard for me to grapple with in and of itself. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about that. And yeah, so as a fellow survivor, I understand your plight and I understand your concerns. And I'm here to help you through this journey of healing, as I am still going on this journey of healing myself. So please, if you feel led to, you can email me. I'll put my email in the description box. Keep the conversation going below. How is the Me Too movement helping you cope through this trauma? And once again, I want to thank you for joining me today as we're taking the shade off of injustices. Talk to you later. Bye.